Hi everyone, in this video I am going to explain you about secondary growth part 3. Let's see the diagrammatic representation of stelar secondary growth in dicot stem, how vascular cambium or cambial ring forms secondary xylem and secondary phloem, how it forms secondary medullary rays, how annual rings are formed by autumn wood and spring wood. Let's check this diagram carefully for your better understanding. Secondary growth in extrastellar region by cork cambium. Cork cambium forms some cells towards the outside, towards epidermis, and some cells towards the inside or towards the cortex. Those cells formed towards outside, their middle lamella is suberenized. Suberenized in the sense impervious to water, impermeable to water. Due to this, these cells become dead. These cells are known as cork or phellum. Those cells are formed towards the inside, are differentiated into parenchyma and may contain chloroplasts. These are called secondary cortex or phelloderm. Remember, cork cambium have the ability to produce cells on both sides. Outer side they forms cork or phellum, inner side they form secondary cortex or phelloderm. Phellum plus phellogen plus phelloderm is equals to periderm, which means phellum, phellogen and phelloderm collectively formed periderm, or in other words, cork plus cork cambium plus secondary cortex is equals to periderm, which means cork, cork cambium, secondary cortex, collectively called periderm. Here you have to know phellum is also called cork, phellogen is also called cork cambium, phelloderm is also called secondary cortex. Secondary growth takes place in extrastellar region due to the activity of cork cambium. Cork cambium is also known as phellogen or extrastellar cambium. Cork cambium arises from the hypodermis or form the outer layer of cortex because they become meristematic. Cork or phellum is formed in more quantity and secondary cortex or phelloderm is formed in less quantity because activity of cork cambium is more towards outside, less towards inside. Maximum activity of cork cambium is occurred in winter or autumn season. Remember, cork is formed more quantity and secondary cortex is formed in less quantity because cork cambium is very active towards outside and forms more cells or more cork cells. But in case of inner side, cork cambium is less active and forms less quantity of secondary cortex or phelloderm. Bark. All the tissues situated outside the vascular cambium is called cork cambium. According to the modern view, bark includes both living and dead tissues. Bark has two parts. Outer layer of bark is called rhytidome and inner layer of bark is called secondary phloem. Bark that is formed early in the season is called early or soft bark. Towards the end season called late or hard bark is formed. Periderm plus secondary phloem is collectively called bark. Next one, lenticels. At certain regions, the phellogen cuts off closely arranged parenchyma cells on the outer side of the cork cell instead of complementary cells. These cells rupture and forms lens-shaped opening which is known as lenticels. Functions of lenticels. The main function of lenticels is exchange of gases between plant and atmosphere, which is called gaseous exchange. Lenticels also performs transpiration. Transpiration through lenticels is called lenticular transpiration. Adventitious roots on cutting originate from the living cells of lenticels in vegetative reproduction. Generally, lenticels are found in most of the woody trees but absent in woody climbers. Lenticels are present all over the plant body. They are also present on fruits. They are never found on leaves. Let's see the diagrammatic representation of lenticel. See the layer of cells which is present in the middle called cork cambium or phyllogen. This cork cambium or phyllogen have the ability to produce cells in both inner side and outer side. The outer side cells are called phellum or cork, which are suberinized, impervious to water. The inner side cells are called secondary cortex or phylloderm. They may contain chloroplast also. At some regions, cork cambium forms specialized parenchyma cells called complementary cells. Because of these complementary cells on woody stem, they show lens-shaped openings called lenticels. The major function of lenticels is gases exchange. Sometimes lenticels also performs transpiration, which is called lenticular transpiration. The next topic, types of wood. On the basis of amount of parenchyma, wood is broadly classified into two types. Number 1, monoxylic wood. Number 2, pycnoxylic wood. The very first one, monoxylic wood. This type of wood contains more living parenchyma. This wood is soft and loose wood, generally seen in cycas. Pycnoxylic wood. This type of wood contains less amount of living parenchyma. It is hardwood. Such type of wood are generally found in most of the dicotyledonous plants. On the basis of distribution of parenchyma, wood is classified into three types. Number 1, apotracheal wood. Number 2, paratracheal wood. Number 3, syntracheal wood. Number 1, apotracheal wood. In this type of wood, parenchyma is in scattered form. Example, gymnospermic plants. Paratracheal wood. In this type of wood, parenchyma is arranged or distributed in the form of mosses or groups. Example, dicotyledonous plants. Number 3, syntracheal wood. In this type of wood, parenchyma is arranged around the xylem vessels. Example, Terminalia arjuna. Apotracheal wood seen in gymnosperms. Paratracheal wood seen in dicotyledonous plants. Syntracheal wood seen in Terminalia arjuna plant. Classification of wood based on xylem vessels. On the basis of presence or absence of xylem vessels, wood is classified into two categories. Number 1, non-porous wood. Number 2, porous wood. Number 1, non-porous wood. Vessels are absent in such type of wood is called non-porous wood, generally seen in gymnosperms. The vessels are present in such type of wood are called porous wood. Example, Dalbergia and Azadirachta indica. Non-porous wood is also called homoxylous wood and porous wood is also called heteroxylous wood. Up to here, the secondary growth in dicot stem was completed. In next video, I will explain you about secondary growth in dicot root. Thank you very much.